My name is Jeff Morgan. I'm from Dallas, Texas, and as many of you know, I have filed a complaint with the Texas State Commission on Judicial Conduct, the Texas State Commission on Judicial Conduct, against Jack James, Injustice of the Peace, Precinct 1, Rockwall, Texas. That is Injustice of the Peace, Jack James, Precinct 1, Rockwall, Texas. Now, after I filed this, one individual sent me a report that he had compiled on the different judicial oversight committees throughout the different states. I'm going to be reading from the auditor's compilation report. It's the report of an independent certified public accountant, and he's rendering a qualified opinion to whom it may concern. I have compiled the case disposition rates of 18 separate state judicial oversight boards, committees, etc., for the periods of 2013 through 2016. The underlying state reports are the responsibility of the respective state's oversight boards. My responsibility was to compile and express an opinion on the respective dismissal rates of these states. I have not audited or reviewed the supporting data and accompanying reports, and accordingly do not express an opinion or provide any assurance about whether state annual reports are free of material misstatement. Each reporting agency is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of their annual reports in accordance with the statutes and reporting guidelines of their respective state. Each state report is available for public viewing on each state's respective oversight board's website. A listing of the website is included below. So he goes on and talks about the results of his report. The overall average dismissal rate of complaints filed against judges is nearly 95%. Actually, 95.5% across 18 states. What that means is for every 100 complaints filed against a judge for judicial misconduct, only a little over 4 of those reports are actually acted upon. All of the rest, almost 96 out of every 100, are dismissed. It almost sounds like the State Commission on Judicial Conduct perhaps is covering for the judges, as you will see further as we read this independent certified public accountant's qualified opinion. The highest dismissal rate is 99.5%, and that's in the wonderful state of Connecticut. So he goes on and he talks about the different states. The states that he looked at were Alabama, Arizona, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Maryland, Michigan, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, my home state of Texas, Utah, and Washington. There were some other states that he attempted to look at, but their annual reports were either not available for public viewing or could not be located on the state agency's website. For each of these different oversight committees, the reporting and classification of dismissal rates is not consistent between the states. The reporting periods are slightly different from state to state, as are the classification of dismissals. Where complaints were dismissed for reasons of the judge's resignation, vacancy of office, term expiration, retirement, and similar reasons for dismissal, those dispositions are included as part of the dismissal rate. Considering these facts, this opinion is qualified with a reasonable error rate of plus or minus 1 to 3% in the calculation of the average dismissal rate. Observation. Review of the complaints where disciplinary action was initiated by the various oversight boards shows that primarily the only complaints acted upon are complaints filed by legal professionals, that is, other judges and legal professionals, and the state agencies tasked with providing oversight of judges do not provide equal protection for the general public or non-legal professionals. Once again, the conclusion is the state agencies, and in the state of Texas, that is the State Commission on Judicial Conduct, tasked with providing oversight of judges, does not provide equal protection for the general public or non-legal professionals. Generally, annual reports for most states are easily located on their website Of particular note regarding historical reporting of the various agencies was the following excerpt from the New York 2014 annual report, which says as follows: the number of complaints received annually by the Commission in the past 10 years has substantially increased compared to the first 2 decades of the Commission's existence. However, it is amazing that out of all of these complaints that are filed against the judges, barely over 5%, actually barely under 5%, are actually considered legitimate, except if you are a judge filing against another judge or a legal professional filing against the judge. If you are a general public filing against the judge, these oversight boards tend to protect their own. At least that's what it would appear, because for the general public, you really don't stand much of a chance of the State Commission on Judicial Conduct working on your behalf. They only work where another legal professional is suing another legal professional, or a judge is suing a judge. The general public has no such protection by and large. This does seem to be an abrogation of their duties to provide oversight over the judicial conduct or misconduct of these judges. And the result, he also mentions, is considering the fact that the larger percentage of complaints against judicial officials arises out of domestic relations litigation. The above graph, which he put in this report, suggests a sharp rise in complaints against judges that can perhaps be attributed to the nation's, quote, no-fault divorce legislation enacted by Ronald Reagan in 1969. This is respectfully submitted by John Anthony Gentry. He is an active CPA from the state of Maryland, and he provides his license number along with this report. So this was very interesting, and I want to thank Mr. Gentry for providing me with this report. Of particular interest to me was the state of Texas, being as I have filed a complaint against a judge in the state of Texas, and I received a dismissal letter from the State Commission on Judicial Conduct. My case was dismissed. However, I did get an opportunity to file for a reconsideration, which I will read shortly after this video is done. In the state of Texas in the year 2013, there were 1,109 complaints filed with the State Commission on Judicial Conduct. Guess how many of these complaints were dismissed? 1,072. In other words, only 37 of those complaints, 1,100 complaints filed, only 32 complaints were actually not dismissed. A dismissal rate of 96.66%. In 2014, the august body got a little bit stricter, as 1,080 complaints were filed and 1,018 complaints were dismissed. That means 62 complaints were not dismissed. So the dismissal rate decreased dramatically from 96.66% to 94.26%. That's almost a 2% increase in the non-dismissal rate. However, things even improved in 2015. In 2015, 1,242 complaints were filed with this august body, the State Commission on Judicial Conduct, and 1,151 complaints were dismissed. In other words, those that were not dismissed increased dramatically to 91 out of 1,242 complaints. So the dismissal rate dropped even further to 92.67%. So going from 2013 with a dismissal rate of 96.66% to 2015 where the dismissal rate has dropped dramatically to 92.67%. However, in 2016, it appears that this trend has reversed again. 1,049 complaints were filed with the State Commission on Judicial Conduct, of which 983 complaints were dismissed. 66 complaints were not dismissed. So the dismissal rate reversed and increased up to 94.71%. On average, over this 4-year period, the state of Texas dismissed 94.33% of the complaints filed. But I will say this in favor of the State Commission on Judicial Conduct. Their dismissal rate is lower than the national average. How about that? However, as Mr. Gentry did say, review of the complaints where disciplinary action was initiated by various oversight boards shows that primarily the only complaints acted upon are complaints filed by legal professionals, that is, other judges and legal professionals, and the state agencies tasked with providing oversight of judges do not provide equal protection for the general public or non-legal professionals. This is a shame. It is a joke. It is something that needs to be investigated. The State Commission on Judicial Conduct primarily accepts complaints only if it comes from another judge or another legal official. If you are the general public, somehow, evidently, every complaint that you raise to the State Commission on Judicial Conduct is dismissed, with very few exceptions. Something is wrong with this system. In the next video, I will talk about my own complaint with the State Commission on Judicial Conduct, and I will go ahead and read it so that you can decide whether the State Commission on Judicial Conduct acted according to its high and lofty guidelines. Thank you.